Good morning, peeps! At this point, I don't have to ask you to guess where we are, because I told you like 20 seconds ago, we are indeed on the Isle of Skye, and I am truly so very hyped for this, because for both me and Simon, this is the first time ever we are on this island, the largest island of the Inner Hebrides, which everyone has been telling me to go to. I've seen so many pictures, and now that I've been on it for about 3 hours, I have to agree. Beautiful. Multiple chef's kisses. Also, this is a first for us for not just this reason, but also another one, which is that this is our first go at #vanlife, because the wonderful people from the EV Camper Company have lent us a beautiful Lomond model of their electric camper, which is just above Simon. That's why I'm breaking eye contact with you. It is a beautiful wee beast, and we're gonna tell you about it later. We're here for 3 days. We're gonna try and see as many beautiful vistas. We're gonna try and take as many beautiful shots for you as possible. But we know that 3 days is not quite optimal for Isle of Skye, that ideally you would spend a couple more days here. However, we'll try, and hopefully you will appreciate. Okay, let's Skye!
So we started our journey kind of late in the day at about 4:30, but for a good reason, because when you're renting an EV Camper Company van, you start off with a little onboarding walkthrough, so the owners know you're aware where all the basics and extra amenities are, and of course how to keep your van charged. We drove northeast, and about 10:30 p.m. we reached Donen, which I've never seen at night, so it was quite a romantic experience, especially because we were able to camp at a spot overlooking the castle. In the morning, I made some coffee in the van, we folded the tent top, and were ready to explore Skye, although for filmmaking reasons we first stopped at Isle of Skye to get some nice views of the bridge. This town has a little community parkland called the Plock, and it has fantastic views and also info on local wildlife. If you can spare the time, I think it's a great point zero for your big trip. And after that, finally, breakfast. I am actually not gonna go into much detail about the food spots in Skye in this video, but we'll publish a second one just about foodie tips. Stay tuned. Right next to our breakfast spot is the Ashig Cemetery. It overlooks a little beach and the little island of Pabai, and I would say it's a really nice photogenic spot, maybe especially if you're looking for something spooky month themed. The Isa Vrathain, which I believe means salmon waterfall in Gaelic, is the first big stop for most people driving into Skye. Popping out of the car around here will reward you with views of the red Coolin Hills and, of course, the very pretty waterfall. I really enjoyed looking into the hills and finding little silver strands of water rolling down from the hills. I guess it must have been relatively wet in Skye before we came. Next up, a big one, the Schligachan Glen. This area has a camping ground, a hotel, and of course some of the most stunning views, not only on Skye, but in my opinion, in the whole of Scotland too. Schligachan itself is a large glen dividing the previously mentioned red Coolin and the black Coolin, which, spoiler alert, we will be sleeping under later. Now on the way to Portree, Skye's capital. This is a great place to recharge both yourself and your EV vehicle if you chose to explore Skye using clean energy. There's a bunch of cozy cafes, nice restaurants, and a co-op open until 11 p.m, which you will for sure appreciate at some point when it's suddenly 10:30 and you realize you have no breakfast ready for your sunrise alarm. A lot of cafes around Skye only open at about 10 a.m, so if you're an early riser, you do need to pack some breakfast. On the way to Portree, you might also want to pop into the Isle of Skye Candle Company, especially if you're looking for some gifts. My favorite fragrance was the Island Whiskey, which was smoky, but also quite heavy on vanilla, so it had a kind of a desserty vibe. After Portree, most people head on north, and on our first day on Skye, we shall join them. There's just so much to see on this part of the coastline, like the Bridesvale waterfalls and the tasty views over Loch Lehan. And with a blink of an eye, we go from lazily enjoying the vista of Old Man of Storr to actually climbing up the pathway leading right up to it. There are in fact two different routes, one more of a medium difficulty and the other one for all of you powerful leg muscle owners. On Skye, every day is leg day. The Trottonish Ridge kind of looks like a loaf of bread, but then again, most things remind me of food, so maybe you'll be able to think of a more romantic likeness. The Old Man of Storr himself is the last remainder of an old volcanic plug, millions of years old. Lives up to his name, I guess.
So Simon stayed behind me. He's gonna fly the drone, and I'm gonna have a look a bit further on the path. It's very long, and we don't have that much time, but I'm gonna see just how far I can make it and be the alpha in our relationship, the one who can hike more. Did you just find your sock?
Halfway up a mountain. I guess no explanation.
Lilt Falls was our next stop. There's a great little suspended platform here for you to enjoy the views, and a couple of steps away, also a little coffee truck with a super friendly owner, so you can grab an OT frothy treat and drink it overlooking this whole eyeball-pleasing situation. For this night, we had a spot reserved at the Skye Camping and Caravanning Club site. Now, this was still some distance away and we wanted to make it on time, so we put our explorations on hold for now and bombed it down to the camping site. We drove past Loch Neist and also the township of Borf, both of which were an unending source of fun to both of us because we are children, but also because these are objectively hilarious names for anything. The campsite is set next to a loch, has a little shop, and most importantly showers and toilets, plus some laundry and dishwashing facilities. I did love having the opportunity to wash my hair, although it was also only one morning when it was actually raining, so maybe I could have saved myself the effort. On day 2, we decided to travel to the southwest for a change, partially because most non-Portree breakfast spots are in the south of the isle, but also because there are some genuine stunners to be seen in this area.
Welcome to Tuesday, our second full day here in Skye. Right now, you can tell it is still a bit cloudy, but like the cloud cover just kind of sits above or like just kind of at the top of the mountains, and I don't know, it just still works for me. Like sort of, it's still photogenic, and sometimes you get like a little bit of light coming through from, you know, when the clouds break, and I'm kind of digging it. So yeah, we're gonna stay here in the south of Skye. We're gonna drive around. I hear there are some castles here, so that's what we're gonna show you. And yeah, you're gonna love it. I'm absolutely positive about that.
Armadale Castle was the only attraction we had to pay for during this trip, but well worth it as you get access to both the gardens and the museum. The castle itself has been made into sort of a controlled ruin in the 90s and hopefully will open to public in a way that will allow for some dramatic photography eventually, but for now you'll just have to enjoy it from the outside. But even that was a beautiful sight, especially as autumn was creeping in. As the castle used to be the home of the clan Donald, that's the main focus of the museum. A good opportunity to see pictures of how it used to look like in the 19th century, and you can also do a little dig into whether you are related to the clan here. And excitingly, you can also see the original Greyfriars Bobby from which the bronze cast living in Edinburgh was made.
Having a good time? What's that face?
That's having a great time. My feet aren't totally soaked.
Well, what sort of shoes are those for Isle of Skye?
This night also happened to be the night of Harvest Moon, a full moon which is celebrated by various traditions around the world, like the Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival or Japanese Otsukimi. We like to buy traditional Chinese mooncakes and then eat them while watching the moon rise. And, you know, I was actually worried that the weather wouldn't let us do that this year. Happy to report, I was wrong. This was a great one.
Is this the aurora?
This is tropical.
Is it?
Apparently. This is Aurora.
Yeah, that checks out.
Checks out. The moods range from practical, Dawn Patrol, to merrymaking, twinkle.
Oh, yeah, that's good. We like to party. We like to party.
We spent the night by Loch Slappin, falling asleep protected from the wind by Blavein, the Blue Mountain. This was probably my favorite night on the island, as it was followed by the most lovely sunrise over the mountains. From here, you can drive over to Elgol. It's a tight road, but the views are great, and you will very likely meet many coos. So if you're a coo fan, I say do drive all the way to the end of this route to say hi.
So we're doing a little charging stop because obviously when you're driving an electric vehicle, that's what you have to do. That is now a part of your lifestyle. And you know what? I thought it would maybe annoy me a little bit to have to make these stops once or twice a day to recharge the car, but it's such a good opportunity to kind of catch up with chores. For example, doing dishes in the car or just like cleaning the space a bit. or introducing you to the van, which is what we're gonna do right now. Again, this is the Lomond from the EV Camper Company. I suddenly feel like I'm in one of those car shows on TV, which I used to religiously watch when I was about 15, and I still don't have a driver's license now at the age of 35. I believe this particular van is about 2 years old, so compared to our car, which is about 13 years old, it feels amazing. It feels like it drives itself. It's an automatic, it's super smooth, it has space for 2 people sleeping on top because there's like a pop-up roof and then 1 extra person sleeping on the bottom. There's also a surprising amount of space in it. I was packing very conservatively, but so far we have been doing pretty well because the inside is very modular, so you get to kind of move the seats in and out, flatten them. There's always space to like put your stuff either into the back or into the front. There's a toilet in the back. Everything. Also, when you're packing, I think like the only things that you need to pack that aren't a part of like the amenity package in this van are like things you need for your like sleep comfort, because obviously that's something that is not included. So myself, I probably wouldn't travel in this van without a pair of earplugs. Also maybe like a tiny hot water bottle if you're traveling in winter. It's not a super like a warm hot car. Sleeping socks also. And I also want to ask Simon what he thinks about driving it. Okay, so how are you enjoying driving this?
Thoroughly, actually. I'm really surprised by just how easy it is to drive. When I first started, it felt like starting a golf cart almost. Like it just goes. There's no revving or anything like that. That's the first time I've used an electric car, so it's really fascinating to be driving like that. It's very, very simple. It's very easy to drive, to manage. It's very clear whether you're driving economically or overly powerfully and using the battery more, because there's a great big dial on the front of you, which is nice and easy. But it keeps up with traffic. It doesn't cause an impediment to other drivers. And driving on Skye, there's an awful lot of potholes to dodge, so it's nice to know that the handling is really, really clean and it's not soft. It actually does things in a really, really easy manner. I've had a great time with it so far.
From Portree, we traveled back north because on day 1 we missed out on quite a lot. First, it is time to get our safari shorts on because we are gonna live our Jurassic Park dreams.
I'm ready to regress back into my childhood because we are at the Dinosaur Footprint Beach by the Brothers Point area in Kilmacnock. And I'm kind of feeling like I'm borderline serving Laura Dern in Jurassic Park, mostly because I was too lazy to change from my sleeping socks today, and now it's kind of like, it's a bit 80s. So yeah, we're gonna try and find some dino footprints. Exciting. So we did that whole long schlep down and up and found nothing. And then we found out that we can drive right to this beach. Like there's a parking lot right next to this beach. We got down and instantly found about 5 dinosaur footprints. My favorite is this one. Behold, there's these 2 next to each other where a dinosaur stood and just had a little ponder overlooking North Coast 500. Go watch our North Coast 500 videos. There's 3 of them on this channel and they are one of my best videos, I think. So do it. Rawr. No, my pin. Sorry, can I just be a dinosaur for a bit?
Mm-hmm. Still recording.
Okay. Rawr.
The Quiraing is a stunning area, super popular with photographers, although the hike around it is pretty challenging. There is a humongous parking lot here that you can stop at to have a short or long look around, as it costs £3 for 3 hours, so not really a bank breaker. And right after, yet another of Skye's greatest hits, the Fairy Glen, a super unique, definitely mystical, possibly haunted little area. Absolutely no wonder people believe it's shrouded in magic till this day. The only thing I'm gonna say is that unlike most spots on Skye, this one maybe looks a bit better in photographs. The fairy circle itself is actually really small, so it takes some creative angling to make it look impressive enough for printing on a guidebook cover. I've overheard someone saying that it actually used to be larger, but then when they built the walkway around it, they did have to sort of squeeze it into a smaller packaging, which seems disrespectful to the fairies. So let me know in the comment section below what is the actual history of this fairy ring and if it in fact used to be larger. As this was our last night on the island, we really wanted to see the sunset happen. We knew that one of the most westernmost points of the island is supposedly just amazing for this. But oh boy, the stress we were in hoping to make it in time was immense, my friends. These roads are not really built for any sort of overtaking, so you will continually get stuck behind other people battling potholes or just being plain old lost. We ran up onto the top of the cliffs, joining many others waiting for the sun to dip behind the Outer Hebrides. Seriously, just what a way to end this trip. And as promised, next morning, we woke up with the sunrise spilling onto the Coolin. I am gonna miss this.
So it is our last morning here on Isle of Skye. We are basically, after shooting this, gonna pack up and go into our cozy bed, into our house with an actual shower, and I think I will appreciate it after the 4 nights here. But it's hard to explain just how much of a fun adventure this has been. I don't think I would ever have done this without David reaching out to me with his van, you know, from EV Camper Company. I think that when he did, I was like, I'm not quite sure if I'm built for this, but it was a great challenge for me, and again, such a great experience. And I think that if your back allows it at all, you should do the same thing, because the freedom of being able to like park anywhere overnight, and then like you wake up at 7 a.m. and you see these beautiful sunrises, and then you just like decide that you're going to drive a little bit further into this valley to check out this like little mist, which is now I can see that the mist is leaving, which is good because it was freezing in it as we were trying to take some pictures. Yeah, all of like the freedom, the true freedom to roam is wonderful. I'm also gonna say I was pleasantly surprised that the like camper van community, like the etiquette is in place. People are being very nice to each other. We have only met maybe 1 or 2 people in a van that would drive not in the most considerate manner, but otherwise I think that Skye locals drive a bit worse than people in camper vans. I think that people in camper vans come in with a bit of an apologetic vibe, like, oh, we're sorry, we're ruining your roads, which is probably like the only thing that's bad about Isle of Skye, the potholes. Because if you think you've seen the worst potholes when you were visiting Edinburgh, then do I have a nasty surprise for you, because the potholes here on Skye are like, planetary sized. Like you feel like you're on Mars, and the driving sometimes feel like it too. Otherwise, no notes, a perfect island, wonderful people, great vistas, love it. With that, I am gonna say goodbye to you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. So far, I haven't edited it, but from the shots I've seen that I took, I think this is gonna be a beautiful video. And I think if you're on this channel to enjoy like the aesthetic content, then this one has been eye candy for you for sure. iTablet, iFudge. Both of those sound horrible. First one is just an Apple product. Second one is some sort of horrible disease. Eye candy it is. If you do want to see some pictures I took on Skye, don't forget to visit me on Instagram on Kaki Blog. That's my photo account. And if you just want to follow me for some unhinged content and illustrations, KakiBot is the account to go for. And also I am on Patreon. This is the address. I do post an extra bonus video every month, usually something about life in Scotland, things to do in Edinburgh, or travel abroad. Stuff kind of we do with either Simon or one of my other friends. So yeah, by now there's probably like 10 bonus videos. So if you sign up, you're gonna get so much extra content if you want more of this face for some reason. And also don't forget, if you want to emulate this fantastic trip with the great fully kitted out EV camper that we got from David and his EV camper company, don't forget to check out the link below. There's gonna be all the info about it there. Very much recommend. We felt so well cared for, sending messages and making phone calls like 10 p.m. when we forgot how to do things. So yeah, like 5-star service if you're looking for someone to rent a van from. David and his company is the place to go. Okay, that's it for me. Adventure almost over, and I shall see you soon. Bye.